Hello and welcome to my channel. I read 7 books in December and I want to just share what I think was the best read of December, what was the worst, and just kind of go through everything that I read. I will say that this is probably the month that I read the most books, but it will not be it won't be the month that I've read the most books in January. I can guarantee that, and I'll tell you why, because I learned, honestly, so many tips that I'm gonna share with you for how to read more, like a little bit later in the video, but I definitely read a lot more this year. So anyway, let's go through each book. I'm gonna start with The Kiss Quotient, and this was by Helen, I forget her name, and I actually have a video coming out pretty soon with like top 10 like TikTok reads. They're not really top 10, but like a lot of TikTok reads that I read, and this is one of them, so I do end up talking about this, so you'll hear about this twice in another video that's coming up. But this book actually surprised me. I did not know that this was actually about someone who was hiring someone to teach them how to like have fun in the bedroom. I thought it was someone who was hiring someone to date. So going into the book, I definitely had a different view of it, which I feel like in the new year I want to go into books blind a little bit more, because I feel like sometimes that kind of like skews my perspective going in. But overall, I mean, this book was like, I'd say it was kind of like mid. I mean, it wasn't like incredible, it wasn't horrible, but it was okay. It did have a lot of spice in it, and I do wish that as a couple they had a little bit more time together to develop their relationship, because I feel like the spice kind of overwhelmed their actual relationship itself. But I did like seeing a woman who was in a male-dominated career, and I just don't think that you see that very often, so I did like that. The next book I read was Drunk on Love by Jasmine Guillory, and Jasmine Guillory is actually one of my absolute favorite authors. I feel like it's very hard to find Black authors who write about Black characters, and it's not written in a way that's kind of like, I don't know, focused on the trauma of like Blackness. And so I really love her books because they're so like magical and fun, and they're just incredible. And I've read By the Book, which is another book by her, and I've also read The Wedding Date, I think that's what it's called, which is also by her, and Drunk on Love I think came out this year. So it's another book of hers that I feel like it definitely has a very strong character, like main character, but I feel like I didn't resonate with this story as much as the others, and I think a big part of that is because I did not really like how in the book it kind of makes it seem like the main character, who is a woman, she's like very independent, owns her own winery, she's like just crushing it in life. It makes it seem like she's this like older woman, so it's like an age gap story. But then you realize that she's like, I think like 32 or something, and the guy that she's like interested in is like 26 or 27. And I'm like, that's not really an age gap, you know? Like, it's really not that big of a difference. Like, I'm 30 and I have friends who are like 23, 25, 26, and I don't look at those friendships as like a huge age gap. So I just feel like it was kind of played up a little too much, and that kind of just gave me like the ick. But other than that, I really did love this story. I think that she does have better stories, but again, if you're coming into Jasmine Guillory's writing for the first time, I feel like this is still gonna do her justice. You're gonna see how she writes, and she is an incredible writer regardless. Pretty much all the other books that I read were holiday books, and I actually gave myself a challenge to read holiday books, and that is really what helped me to read more this month. And like I said, I'm gonna give you a couple tips for how to read more a little bit at the end of this video, but I read The Holiday Switch. I think that this book was a little too childish for me. I mean, this is my first time jumping back into YA as a 30-year-old, like, who loves to read, and I just couldn't really connect with the main character. She talked a lot about like really having stress around going to college and her homework and like impressing her parents, and I just am like very much past and far removed that point in my life. But it was a really easy read, and like you could see, it's very small, it was just really quick. So it was a nice fun holiday read, but I personally didn't really like connect with the characters that much in this one. So now the rest of the books that I'm going to talk about, I'm going to give a rating for, because I couldn't really give the ratings for those other books, because if you guys have been following me for a while, you guys know know that in the past I rated books on like a 10 rating scale, and now I'm rating on a 5-point scale because that like, it resonates with more people, I think, because they better understand the 5-point scale. So I rated this book a 3 out of 5. It was good. It was my first Tessa Bailey book. I feel like I will definitely read more Tessa Bailey, but I don't think those books are gonna be books that I'm like constantly recommending to people, and they're not gonna be books that I am like actually like obsessed with. But I feel like they're a fun, lighthearted read, which sometimes I just need, you know, if you like read a really heavy book and you just like need something fun. I feel like Tessa Bailey's books, granted this is just my first one, but I feel like this is kind of the vibe for her books, like lively, fun, not too heavy. I like this one, and I also think because it was after the holiday switch that it made it a really like even better read, because I didn't really like this one as much. I also really like how this book had a deeper, like, I don't know, storyline that was outside of just like the Christmas vibe, and it really was interesting to read, because you don't normally read about someone who has a past like the main character does in a lot of books, especially that are Christmas related. So I did like that. It was very unique. But again, a 3 out of 5. I thought it was good, but I didn't think it was like the best book in the world. But it was a fun, lighthearted read, and I'm excited to read more Tessa Bailey books maybe in the summer when I need something like more lighthearted. The next book I read was In a Holidays, and I actually rated this a 4 out of 5, and this is my third Christina Lauren book. I've read The Unhoneymooners, and I've read Love and Other Words, which I'm going to review in a video that's coming up, so be sure to subscribe, and I'll also link a ton of my other book videos below, because I do lots of like book shopping videos and lots of hauls. I have literally a massive Amazon cart right now of just straight books, and tons of them are books by Black authors about Black protagonists, but I want to try to see if I can find like the books in a small bookshop before I like just get them off Amazon. But yeah, I rated this a 4 out of 5, and I can definitely see myself just constantly recommending this to people, because I think that the deeper meaning of this book was something that I feel like is really good to focus on during the holiday season. Like, pretty much recognizing that your life is beautiful as it is, even with all the mess and the crazy. At least that's kind of what I got out of it. But I don't think the message was so like hard-hitting where they're like beating you over the head with it. It was very subtle, which I liked, and I loved the love story of these main characters. I will say that I didn't really like connect with the like first loop, and you'll kind of like know what I'm talking about whenever you like read the book. But the first loop, I feel like she kind of made a mistake, but I think that that goes back to the overall point of the storyline, where it's like pretty much saying even if you make mistakes in life, your life is still beautiful as it is. So I think it all tied together, but yeah, I definitely would recommend this one. It was a beautiful story, 4 out of 5, and I just thought it was really, really a good Christmas read. This next book I rated a 1 out of 5, and I don't think I will ever DNF a book. I mean, I can't say for sure if I ever will, but I don't think that I will personally, because I always want to finish, because this book is someone's favorite book, and I know that because on Goodreads and all over TikTok people are obsessed with it. But to me, for one, in the bedroom he calls her like words and calls her things that I don't think are appropriate to really call anyone. But I also feel like it was a really weird book. Like, they had such a, like, her ex-boyfriend that she had was very like supposed to be like this terrible guy, and the guy that she like finds is supposed to be this great guy, but I feel like he was almost too perfect, and her ex was almost too terrible. Like, I feel like in everyone we always have like good and bad characteristics about each other or about ourselves, and I feel like the author had just like a very black and white view of people. So I didn't really care for that, but also I think the bedroom stuff was what just like really got me. This was definitely a spicy book, but I was just like, this is coming out of left field, like the stuff you want to do in the bedroom, and it was giving me like 50 Shades vibes, but in a like a book that doesn't seem like it would be that way. And I mean, I'm all for like sexual liberation, but this Christmas book just did not give the vibe, especially from the cover. So I kind of like walked into a book not thinking that I was gonna get something that I got, and I was like, whoa, like what's going on? And I also didn't really like how the main character kept talking about how like certain things that she would do, she would be like, this is just what a woman does. And I didn't really like the overall generalization of like women should do this or men should do that. It just seemed very like, I don't know, 1800s-esque. So yeah, wasn't really a fan of this. 1 out of 5. Almost DNF'd it. Glad I made it through it so I can give my full review, but was not a fan of this one. So this is the 7th book that I actually am currently reading right now, but I'll be finished with it by the new year because there's still a couple days left of December as I'm filming this. And I love this book so far. You'll have to go over to my Instagram on my books highlight to see what my rating is for this book. But I will say in the new year, I am gonna get a Goodreads account so you guys can see all my ratings for new books. But this one is just so beautiful so far. I feel like it's gonna be a 4 out of 5. I can't be sure. I'm on page 171 out of 295, or no, out of 290. So I mean, I still do have like a little ways to go, but I'm doing a little reading date with my friend today. She texted me and was like, hey, do you want to like read together? I was like, oh my god, like literally goals, absolutely. So we're gonna go to the library and like read. So I'll definitely be finished with this one today, and then I'm going to start one day in December because I actually had this goal to finish holiday books before the holiday like full season is over, and I have literally only like 2 days left. So I'm gonna try to read the rest of that other book today and then get through a ton of this today and maybe all of it or at least half while we're on our little reading date. And I've heard that this book is really good as well. And be sure to check out my next video that I put up on Tuesday, because new videos come up on Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Saturdays, and I'm gonna give a review of this book and a review of this book because I also want to finish this holiday book before the holiday season is over. This is a lot bigger, so I don't really know. I mean, it's 400 pages, so like I'll be pushing it to finish this, but if I finish 7 books in a month, I mean, I'll be like really happy about it. And I think what's really helped me read more is, 1, setting a goal for myself, because I don't normally read a ton, because not because I don't love reading, but it's because I don't give myself time to read. And I set this goal to read all these holiday books, and you guys can see like most of December I read holiday books, and making that goal pushed me to read more. So I was reading not only in the morning and night, which is like my normal regular routine where I read 10 minutes in the morning and 20 minutes at night, but I was reading for hours and hours. I was taking my book with me to the automotive shop when I had to get my tires changed before a snowstorm. I was taking my book with me just literally everywhere. I was bringing it with me in my purse, and I was pulling it out in seconds where I would normally pull out my phone, and it just like made me read so much more. So I know in the new year, setting a goal for myself is gonna help me to read the amount of books that I want, setting a weekly goal and then a monthly goal, and then also making dedicated time to read, but not like short periods of time like I do in the morning and night, but making actual long periods of time, like hours and hours. And that can be hard because I mean, we're all adults and we have a million things to do. But if we can make time to be on our phones, or make time to watch our favorite TV show, or make time to, I don't know, do literally anything, I feel like we can also make time to do a hobby that we love, like reading. So I haven't really watched a ton of TV this month because I've been so like engrossed in books, but that makes me happy. So I just am like really glad that I've been reading more, and I hope to take that into the new year. I hope you guys enjoyed seeing all of the books that I've read for this year, and, or not for this year, for December. And check back on my Instagram if you guys wanna see like my reviews of these in real time, these 2 books that I haven't finished, and then this one that I have like 100 pages or so left in it. But also make sure to check back on Tuesday because I'm gonna give like an actual review in a video where I talk about these books right here, and then kind of give like a review of this one on top, so you can kind of like hear me talk through it. And I have another video coming. I think it'll be on the 5th, another holiday video with not holiday because the holidays will be over, but a book video, and I'm going to be talking about TikTok books and books that are like trending for TikTok, and good or bad ones, if certain books are worth it. So be sure to subscribe because there's gonna be lots, I literally can't talk today, lots of book related content in this year, and I'm really excited for it. New videos are Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Saturdays, so I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye guys.